Hello, and today we are doing something I'm very excited about. This is actually the main reason why I started this channel. I, uh, we're going to be learning how to make bones and use these bones for avatar dynamics, sword swings, movement. It is triggers just in general. And when I first found out about this, I found it on a random post on Reddit. It was actually, I think it was Lindy's page, and they had a tutorial on how to add a wiggle to glasses. And I have never seen anyone talk about this in a video or how to explain it in any way, but originally I had a avatar that I really liked that had a sword swing, and when he swung the sword, it would play the animation. It wasn't a gesture, it wasn't a trigger, it wasn't a toggle, it just did it. And it's going to look real silly. I don't know if anyone else figured this out beforehand, but I watched tutorials, I looked up videos. There was a video with Shroomy where he had something called a dampener. And so I tried to figure out, I looked up dampening systems for Unity all over the place. Couldn't find it. But this should be pretty quick to start off, and then we'll get into what you can do with this. So the first thing you do, to make a bone, all you need is 2 points that are at different distances. They can both be empties. They don't have to have anything with them. And they just have to have a child, or be the child of one. So that's it. If I add a fizzbone component here, I now have a fizzbone. That little line right there. That's it. It may not seem like much, but you can do a lot with this right here. What I usually use it for is, like what I said before, a punch animation or a sword swing animation, because we can get rid of the spring because you don't want it to be bouncing around. And when you go for this, if you're using like a sword swing animation, you want to have the mobile type world, and you want to have it set to 1. What this will do is now world movement, like your avatar running around, will not cause the bone to move. What will cause the bone to move is your physical movement. But we're going to remove that just for a moment. And for a limitation type, I do like to use the polar, because hinges are okay, they just don't have enough left and right kind of wiggle room. But what we want to do is a polar. And we're going to try to make this into a right angle, so we can actually, like, I think it's the roll, not the roll. No, pitch, there you go. We can make the pitch move until it's basically a right angle. And then from here, that's a lot of left and right, so we can remove the yawn. So that gives it a little bit of wiggle room, because with the hinge, what happens is you have to be going exactly the right direction. If you're off a little bit, the bone won't move. This bone can only go down, basically, and that's what we want. We don't need stretch, we don't need grab, we don't need any of that, but we are going to give it a parameter. And we're going to we could call this, like, well, I'm going to use it for a punch. So this is a punch. And these are floats. So these are, they're not the best for quest, because first you're using the fizzbone component, and you only get like 8 of those, I do believe, 8 or 9. So it is possible to do it for a quest, but it isn't. You're going to be making a pretty big sacrifice right there. The second it uses a float, because we're going to do the is angled. And that's a float is 8 parameter points right then and there. Now I want to show you something that's kind of a little annoying. Uh, if you have a VRC Fury component, it makes it hard to tell if this is working properly. Because right now we have our parameter punch underscore angle, and if I go here and add that parameter, that float, I always get that wrong. And if I go into play mode without any VRC Fury, you'll see this value should move when the avatar moves. If I go here, oh, I need to make sure I'm going in the right direction now because I don't. Where is our bone? Oh, it's not doing it. Troubleshooting time. I misspelled punch. Spelling is important. So now, you see that? It moved. We can see that the avatar, or when the avatar moves, the bone moves, and that gives our float value. Now, if I put on that VRC Fury component again, it was the right default fix. I was trying to help a friend with this for a long time, and we were trying to test it in Unity, and we found out that the problem wasn't Unity at all, it was VRC Fury. See, now that value doesn't move, even though our bone is moving. I could probably just grab this. No, I can't grab that. Yeah, you can see the bone is moving. It's very faint, but it does move. So having that will break the testing, but it won't break it actually in VRChat. But if you're trying to figure out why your punch isn't working, that's what's going on. It's Fury being Fury. So now that we have our bone, one thing that, and this is something that's going to change depending on the avatar you're actually using, is you're probably going to want to increase or decrease the pull, and we're going to turn this on because we're going to actually be using this for something. But lower the pull, okay, we're going to go back, to make it easier to activate the trigger. It also depends on how far of your angle is. So while we're kind of messing around this, you can either go into VRChat and go to your debug and see how much of the angle is being moved, or you can kind of test this. It looks like you can see it gets to like a 0.2 with a pretty good speed. I don't know if I'll be able to do that in the actual game, but I think 0.2 might be our good number. So I can actually just make a new thing. We'll call it punch. Set the weight. I don't have animations right now. I'm actually just doing the trigger part. Normally do the animations first, but I'm not doing that. And that might come to bite me in the butt later on. But for this, all we need to do is our trigger is going to be punch angle is greater than, like we saw there, 0.2 was what we're kind of going for. Then the kid to get out. And we could do 0.05. Well, no, we want to actually leave pretty quickly, so We'll do also 0.1 because we only want the animation to like be active for like a little bit. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make a quick, simple particle system. This isn't going to be ideal. I actually have a bad idea. Get rid of the shape. We'll make it a burst for fun. Burst count between two randoms. Let's make it 10 and 20. Speed between 4 and 7. Let's give it a gravity. So it's going to kind of be like a kind of thing. Scaling shape, simulation speed world. That way it'll actually move around. There, it's just like a. I might actually have to give it a shape then. There. Kind of a shotgun effect. And I'm going to put it on my right arm. With this, basically it's going to toggle it on. And as soon as it toggles on, it should do the first movement. And we'll also move our bone here. So this. Right hand. We'll toggle it off. Then for our bone, we're going to want it to be going this direction. So our fist, let's see. Oh, sorry about that. Wrong button. Actually might be upside down. So I think that should work because the bone will be moving that way. And I'm going to just put this on my hand, and if we go into play mode, it actually would probably give us a better idea if I lined it up properly. Because if we look at the scene then, to be honest, I don't think that will, because I might have to make it a bit of an angle. Because right now there's no forward. If I move my hand forward, it's not going to go anywhere. So let's actually just make this rotate just a little bit. So it's a little bit more getting caught by the drag, basically. There we go. Could probably do that as well. And now we're going to turn the mobility off. And then we just need to make an animation. Boop. And now we're going to go to our punch animation. Doop. We'll turn off loop time. It doesn't matter, but yeah. And that should be it. One moment. I'm going to put that Fury component back on. And so, like I said, this is a very useful tool. Being able to just know how to make a bone in general is a pretty useful tool. You can I use this often because you can do like X, Y, and Z velocity as a parameter. Those are also floats that are built into your avatar. Oh, but what I've ever done for like a movement animation, like if you move, it makes a sound or does an effect. I just make a bone and I say if the bone is angled, go to whatever that animation is, that sound animation. You can also do this for like if you have a run animation that you want to replace your character, you can do that. This is a running kind of thing. I had an avatar that its emissions were based off of movement of the bones, so it wasn't an audio link. People thought it was an audio link, but no, it was actually my personal movement was the audio link, basically. So I had all these bones attached to like my arms and my legs and my hip, and so when I moved that specific body part, the emissions would light up. Kind of an interesting idea. Like I said, people will be like, wait a minute, how are you audio linking without a world that has audio link? And that's the answer is right there. It's not audio link, it's just bones. Other things you can do with this is if you looked at that, there's more than just angled. We have is grabbed, so if the bone is grabbed, then it will play the trigger. Is posed, is stretched or is squished. Now, I'm not going to do this in this video, but if you're trying to use this as a toggle, you're going to need a parameter syncing system. And the best way to describe that is it's a way for people to catch up to whatever your avatar has done. With a lot of these dynamics, the animation signal is basically sent once. If you ever want to know why everyone does a toggle instead of a button, because you do have the option in your menus to make it a button. Like this. You don't really want to do a button because if anyone shows up late, that will not show up. It's like a signal. A button sends the signal one time and then it's done. Where a toggle is constantly sending that signal over and over and over again. So if someone shows up late, they'll be like, oh, okay, this is doing a thing. I need to update to it. Where a button, it sends it once, and if you miss it, then it will not update to everyone else. So this is good for like head pats and nose boops and ear pulls and tail pulls and like I said, punches and movement. But if you're doing it for a toggle system, you will want to do a parameter driver, and I will do that in another video. But yeah. This took me a long time to figure out. Probably pretty simple for a lot of people, but for me, I just didn't know. But I've never seen a video about it. Oh, and one other thing. If I don't think I have anything. Oh well, I can do it right here. I'm just gonna make a 3D object, and let's make it kind of small. And we'll remove the collider. like I said, originally I saw this as an example for glasses, to make the glasses give it a little bit of a wiggle. And the same thing, you can do the same thing here. So I'm going to pretend the cube is our glasses, and if I put the cube on the child of the empty and give it a fizz bone, and we can now see it's got a little bit of a bone there. If I move this back more, it'll shrink it down even more. And probably give it a little, we'll leave it at that. But for something like this, again, you probably don't want to have a lot of left and right if this was truly a set of glasses. So again, I would do the polar thing, and I would probably make it pretty small in general. Like there might be a little bit of left and right, and just a little bit of up and down even. Because too much and it's going to look probably a little weird. If we go into play mode, we'll see that yes, we now have a little bit of wiggle on whatever this is. Also, you probably don't want it to be too far away from the actual bone itself. This is probably not the best example, but if we go here, of course I can't do it. Why aren't you letting me move? Okay, one moment, we'll put it actually in the character. Sorry about all this. Now, like I said, just a little bit of wiggle. You could do that for like if you have a potion on your character and you want to give it just a little bit of wiggle. It got a little bit of left and right, up and down. I wonder why that is going off. Oh, probably because I have it on the wrong one. I'll fix it in a moment. But yeah, like if you have a bottle of a potion or something, a sword, maybe a necklace, or anything else that you just want to give a little bit of a wiggle to it. This is a way you could do that. Obviously this should be on the actual head of the character, but just an example. And let's go to our punch. We'll fix this real quick. I'm in the wrong one, aren't I? Another thing about Fury is it does change your animator or your FX whenever you click the play button, so you have to make sure you're on the right FX, which is what I wasn't. So if you ever want to know why things are not working the way they should be, not to be mean, but it can be a Fury thing, which it does every now and then. So here we are in VR chat. I changed it a little bit. I now have to make both hands into a fist, and I just tried it, and I have to like really give this a good swing. I have to, and there it goes. Shoots particles. If I do, actually maybe I don't. If I increase the life of the particles, or I could add a sound effect. Oh. I could add a collision so it like would hit something. Also, it seems like the I have it so it toggles off when the bone is low. So what I could have done instead of doing it a toggle off is change the burst, or change it to an emission, and have the emission go on and off. That's a way to fix that issue, but that's not in this video. See, both hands have to. I love it. super fun. And I just never saw anyone talk about it in any avatar creation or anywhere, like any video. There's hundreds of videos about Fizzbones on settings and how to, do things like this, but there's nothing about how to use it as a trigger for something else. Anyway, hopefully someone finds that helpful and can come up with something that I never thought of. That's the whole point of this, is I want people to either find this helpful or build on top of these things that I find or have found out about. Anyway,